Hi, I'm Robert DeMarzo with the UBM Tech Channel. I'm here at the Exchange event where David Rose just delivered a great general session keynote. And to sum it up, I'd have to say it touched on innovation, entrepreneurship, enchanted objects, which David will talk about, and many other things. But I think the core of it was inspiring the Exchange attendees to use their minds and the technology to bring great solutions and inventions to their customers, or maybe to cook some inventions that might be profitable down the road. So David, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
You had 6 areas that I would say that you covered when it comes to enchanted objects, and you had some of your favorites in there. Would you give a quick recap of some of those so our viewers get a feel for your presentation? Then I got some great questions to ask you because I was inspired. So go ahead, I'll let you start.
With all of this abundance of potential, the question is, where should you focus your effort as an entrepreneur? And so what I did was I set up this framework of 6 areas that have been persistent fantasies, wishes, desires forever, since the Brothers Grimm, since James Bond, since Harry Potter, and these are sort of fantasies that almost like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's things that we all want. So it's things like omniscience, like we want to be all-knowing, whether it's corporate dashboards or where the kids are, or whether I should go head to the mountains this weekend. You know, we want to effortlessly know with no cognitive load. You know, we just want to glance and know. So I talked about ambient devices for that. We want telepathy. We want to know the mind of another person, and we want to connect very, very quickly. So I showed a Skype cabinet where you just open it up and your kid can talk to your parents and boom, they're connected. So the next one was about protection. So there are a lot of new technologies that allow us to be able to know whether we're safe, to be able to I talked a little bit about Google Glass and the potential, the safety ramifications. I mean, there's a privacy-safety trade-off often when it comes to like installing cameras in London or wherever.
There is a trade-off to some of the technology, or I would say the inventions that you portrayed and put up there. Certainly in personal data, as you're saying, in security, and managing it. So, let's get to the others in a minute, but what are your thoughts on that compromise that you have to make, I guess, to make progress in the scheme of things, right?
So many technologies allow for more transparency and more accountability. And I think in some ways we can loosen up constraints and controls if there's more accountability. So Wikipedia is a great story around this. Like anybody can go in and edit a Wikipedia link, but anybody can unwind that, and anyone can see who's the guy who's messing up the
right. Sort of train of thought or the information. Interesting.
That's right. That's right. So I think it's a trade-off.
One of the ones that you cited was in healthcare, and certainly sort of the smart pill bottle, right, which I think our audience would be interested in hearing. So you were certainly some of the the brains behind that invention, and I think there are also solution providers that could say, geez, I can monetize ideas like that.
Absolutely.
Connecting with major drug retailers or pharmacies and things of that nature. So
yeah, I think connected health and also the quantified self, being able to understand what your own patterns are and be able to have devices and services that help you make better choices is a huge category, and billions and billions of dollars. I mean, they say for people, for medication non-adherence, that is people that aren't taking the prescriptions that are prescribed by their doctor, it's worth $300 billion in unneeded cost. And so like any insurance company, any self-insured employer, like they're all really looking for best of breed solutions that will allow them to reduce those healthcare costs. And sometimes it's the simplest stuff that works. Sometimes it's pedometers, it's apps that help you take pictures of your food and analyze what you're eating.
What are your thoughts on monetizing some of these, right? Because we have an audience that can hopefully bring some of these to commercial success, but sometimes great ideas and promising ones don't necessarily make it. So as you're developing these or working with a network of sort of inventors and developers, what do you need in terms of access to people that can bring that product or that idea to market and monetize it.
Right. I'm a big student about the diffusion of innovation, like what causes things to tip and what makes new products adopted. And one of the things that I like about this metaphor of enchanted objects is it doesn't require you to be too inventive about changing the world. It takes as a base or a frame the existing things that are sold today, that people interact with today. That's right. And it just adds something a little bit more connectivity, a little bit more feedback loop. And when we do the internet-connected pill bottle cap, we intentionally didn't make it this new, bizarre, pill case holder. We just said, let's just use the amber vial as a base, and then we won't reinvent pharmacy practice. It'll still be a child-proof, click-to-lock cap, and that was adopted by Express Scripts.
I'm going to let you end on the ladder of enchantment because it was kind of a good way to summarize, your vision. So can you walk the viewers through that?
The example that I gave was an ordinary weight scale. Like, how do you make an ordinary weight scale smart? Like, the first step is just to connect it, right? The first step is just to, connect it with Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or cellular. There's a bunch of choices and trade-offs there. But just having the data connected and flowing to the cloud is sort of step one. The step two is personalization. So step two is knowing who it's connected to, who's stepping on it every day, what their weight goal is, what their trends are. Like, just personalization is that next step. The next step is gamification. So you want to add points and badges and leaderboards and goals. The next step is socialization. So connecting it into these social networks to allow you to tweet your weight or share a goal. I mean, that may not work for weight, but it works for many other objects. Sure. And the final step, which I think is the hardest, is something that Disney does well, which is to sort of embed the object and that behavior or that ritual into a story. So you're playing for someone else, or you're playing, your health is reflected in the health of a character, or you're playing for a character and I'm playing for another character.
That's great. I found it inspiring. I thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed a snippet of what David presented here at Exchange. By all means, you can go to our site and see David's full presentation that was given here. We hope to have him back at other events. And by all means, David, if people want to reach you or view your work, how do they do that?
There's a website called enchantedobjects.com, and that's where there's a book about the same that's coming out next year.
I hope you found this as enchanting as I did. Sorry for that bad pun.
Thanks, Bob.
Thanks for viewing and thanks for being here.
All right.